is power. How you doing? How you doing? Rising family, Black Feniks checking in right now. I am inside of the HogOn University, and I wanted to address the topic of welding is power and why it is. A few people inboxed me about certification, becoming a welder, what certification to have, how to become a certified welder, what does it mean, and I just wanted to talk about that and talk about how that knowledge of knowing is power. And there's a few different aspects we're going to jump on because I want to relate it to business and I want to relate it to personal use. And for those who are just now getting started into the field, a lot of times we hear the term certified welder, or we hear the term someone say, I'm a welder. And sometimes you hear them say that and you'll see some of their weld and work and you be like, yeah, he's a welder. And then other times you hear someone say that and you'll look at the work and you'll be like, well, maybe he didn't seen somebody do it before. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe he had a little practice on YouTube. I even heard a few people who got a job who said, oh man, I had just watched a few videos and went in the booth, man, and made a bead. And it's possible because you most definitely can do anything. Everybody learn different. So, you can learn how to weld that way. But I won't say you're gonna be real knowledgeable on how to actually perform it until you get some hands-on experience. So the main thing on becoming a welder or saying you're a welder is actually knowing how to weld, knowing how to joint metal, knowing how to combine metal, knowing how to lay a bead, knowing how to level plates or tack on plates and finish welds. It's different aspects when it comes to being a welder. But I want to talk about being a certified welder too, because a lot of parents ask me about getting their child certified. And I want to say this at this moment, I don't certify, but I know how to get your child certified. I have two different facilities actually in Arkansas and then one in Oklahoma and Tulsa where I can take you to get your child certified when that time comes, but they have to pay for it just like I have to pay for it. Here soon, my goal is to actually become a inspector where I can actually do the testing at this facility at my house. But at the moment, there's a couple things I have to do. So once I get that done and I actually get the equipment, then I can actually train and certify. Right now, I provide training and I get a person to the level where they can pass their test to get certified. Some people, it takes longer than others. I had some people say, well, can you guarantee that I'll be certified when I take your test, when I get done taking your class? I can't guarantee that because everybody learn different. I got a student now that has been only welding 10 hours from me, never picked up welding before. 10 hours, family. He's already welding in a horizontal position. Now, everybody learn different. And I want to say that because you have to be hungry. So for those who are hungry, they can pick up on the skill different, but I can't guarantee a person will catch it as fast as others. But I can guarantee you that I will give you the same knowledge I gave that person. And I will show you how I can do it for you, lead by example. I have had welding instructors who couldn't weld, who actually can just talk to weld and knew the knowledge and what it's supposed to be like. But when it came time to jump into the booth and actually help the student that way, they couldn't produce the weld that they wanted them to produce that was in that book. And see, that's what I do. I'm a hands-on trainer. I can train a group or I can train individuals. But the goal is once you get that knowledge, see the welding knowledge is key. Once you get the knowledge of knowing how to weld, the knowledge of what is required, where you're going wrong, then you can take it upon yourself and get certified. Or check this out. If you're just getting into the field and you want to start getting some on the job experience, you can go to a job And the job will certify you, family. So you don't have to even pay for your certification. You can get the knowledge and then go to the job. Different companies hire in different areas, and you can they will actually pay for your certification, and then you will be a certified welder. So you could have the bragging rights to say you're a certified welder, and you might get a piece of paper, or sometimes they keep the certification, sometimes they don't. It depends, but it's all about saying, okay, now I am a certified welder. But with them certifications, and this comes to knowledge again, you can't take those with you. So once you leave that job, or sometimes the certifications only last for a project, it might have been certifications for 6 months to do a project, and then that certification expires. Certifications are different, but the ones that I have seen, you have to pay them every 6 months to keep them up through AWS or ASME. So it all depends on what certification you have. If it's you're doing pressure vessels, or you're doing pipe certifications or structural certifications. Most of them, when it comes to AWS, you have to get them renewed every 6 months. So you got a renewal fee, $25 to $50 every 6 months. And normally they'll start out prices around $150 up to $400, $500 of weld test. Depends on what you're trying to get test. Now, and I have had students and other people ask me, well, what is the best certification to carry? And that's a very good question, because when I got started, I didn't know what certification to carry. Like I thought that I had to have all of these certs in my pocket to actually make an opportunity, but I didn't. I had to have all the knowledge. But when it comes to it, though, if I would say one cert, or I would say two certs that really, really helped me, was my 6G search on 6010 and 7018, so my stick welding certs, and my flux core. I had the flux core search doing overhead and vertical up and on 1 inch plate. Both of those two certs I had was actually an asset, because I did a lot of structural work, and I was working in mines and in Arizona and in Nevada. It was a big need. I could be independent, and most of them took the certs because I had the search through AWS. Now I only carry my 6G because I don't do the industrial work anymore. And then now the way it's lined out, majority of the time, if you don't have, the contracts are so big, you have to go through a company. So most of them, they'll pay for your certifications anyway. So I learned that if I was going to keep one, when it all came down to it, was just to keep my AWS certs. So if you want to have your stick certs, in 3G or 4G, or if you're a pipe welder and you get it in 6G. Now, in some cases, you can get your 6G certs and it will cover your structural welding, because some structural welding certs only require 3/8 plates. And when you welding pipe, you can actually get it up to a 1/2 inch. So you get the 1/2 inch cert, it'll cover, you're not having to have it a single cert for your vertical up or your overhead. But in some other cases, you still have to take a test to have that specific test. So it all depends on what you're doing. Like if it's D1 certifications, which is the standard certifications, and then you got D1.5, which is like welding on bridges. It's a different certification. It's a different test, which when you're taking that test and getting that certification, you don't use any machines as far as grinders or nothing like that to clean it out. You only can use a rod brush and a chipping hammer, and using 7018 rods uphill. So most of those are 3G tests. But like I say, the knowledge is power, because you have to know the difference of what you want. Now, when it comes to hard wire, I want to talk about hard wire MIG welding process. The MIG welding process, to me personally, is one of the easiest processes to learn, but it was one of the last processes I learned. And I think the guy, well, I take that back. TIG was the last process I learned. Then I went to MIG. I went to MIG and did TIG, I'm sorry. But it was the last process for me as far as being in that booth, because he was like, it's so easy to do it. Some people don't, it was some welders, even when they got started, didn't like, oh man, it's not real welding, but it is. It's a different technique where the machine actually automatically feeds the wire to you, and it makes the process faster, and it also makes it an easier process for a beginner. And they've been critiquing it so much where they got different post MIG processes and where they can teach a welder to be certified in hours. They can show you a technique of how to do this and really get you down, and the pretty much the machine does it. You just have to maneuver it. So it's so many processes, but the MIG welding process itself, I wouldn't say you have to get certified on. Some people say, man, I want to have a cert in MIG to say I'm a certified MIG welder. You can say you are a MIG welder, but to be a certified MIG welder, you can be working for a specific company. Or, I wouldn't say that, or you can have your LLC and say, okay, I'm certified MIG welding. I got MIG welding certs in my flat, vertical down, and we don't do overhead, at all. You might just do flat and vertical down. So you might have just 2 welding certs or 1 to cover 2, and then you say, okay, this is cover everybody in the shop. You know what I mean? All we doing is making products. So certain certifications isn't needed when you're building process, when you're making products in the MIG welding process. So the knowledge is power. So I would most definitely say that know it before you spend your money. And when it comes to doing business, you want to have certain certifications if you're doing field welding versus shop welding, knowing what type of insurance to get, with welding. I made a mistake and I had the wrong insurance when I first started, so I spent way more money, knowing that all I needed was what I needed was like literally $2,000 cheaper than what I had, or maybe a little bit more of that cheaper. I know I would save a whole lot more once I realized what kind of insurance I needed, because what I was doing, I did a lot of field repairs and went in and did staircases, and I was doing installs. So a lot of that work, a lot of the big companies that was hiring me to come in, they had this big bond and big insurance, so I was going under them. And even though I had insurance to insure me, I still was insured under them on the job. So it taught me something on how to know what type of insurance you need to work for different LLCs and other, small corporations. So the knowledge is power, because it can help you get yourself in better positions and not lose a lot of money. The goal is not to lose a lot of money. So like I say, starting out, I could say that I lost a lot of strength, energy, and money, you know what I mean, as far as business starting out, and then just getting into the field, because at first I just welded, I was just enjoying the fact of welding, getting out of prison. For those who don't know, I did 10 years in prison. So coming out of prison in 2006 was my first year working in the free world as a welder. Now, I was a certified welder. I went to Votech and I got certified in combination welding, which that paper you see behind you, thought I was about to fall. That paper you see behind you, I got certified there. So when I got certified in there, I still had to actually go on the job. I had so many hours, 40 hours, and then I had to go on the job and actually do it. But I was able to weld stainless, aluminum, or steel. And I wanted to learn more, because I said, man, that makes me more of an asset. And jumping into the field, I learned that, being independent, I enjoyed more of the MIG and stick welding process. I didn't do a lot of TIG welding independently. I had to, it was some jobs I could have got contracts, but it was so big, there was so many people doing the stainless in certain companies in Feniks, where it was actually easier for me to go under people and work. And I did. I was going through with a crew doing shutdowns at the Pepsi-Cola plant, coming through there, helping them. So a lot of them knew me from coming through there. A lot of them were surprised to see a black welder come through there and actually help them install pipe and things of that nature. So the knowledge of knowing what you need and how to get it and how to apply it is very important. So I just wanted to come to you today and say knowledge is power. And this is to all welders. So knowing what certification you need, knowing that you can get the knowledge from someone like me that trains, and then you can go get your own certifications, or you can come get the knowledge from me and you can go to a job and have that job pay you and provide you with certifications. So you can kill 2 birds in 1 stone. It all depends on what you want to do. But getting started, me personally, if you're not going into business, which most people are trying to get some good employment right now, I would say all you need to do is focus on getting the skills. The skills family is way more important than saying that you are certified, because you're going to get certified on the job by having the skills. So get the skills. The skills are very important. Learn the skills. Get you a tutor. Find your program. Skills is very important. And just like I had a class yesterday, and I was telling him, it's all about the time now. Our last section that we're going to have, hopefully in the next week or so, is just where we'll be focusing on overhead alone, doing overhead T-joints. And it's all about knowing where your weakness is, knowing how to focus. So it's important that we learn not to just be all over the place. You know, growing up, I remember the saying, we used to say it all the time, man, I'm a jack of all trades, a master of none. And we thought it sounded cool. Well, actually, it was kind of foolish, because we really want to master something. So in order to master welding, you want to get the skills. Skills are what help you become a master at something. You know, like the old movie Karate Kid. He had to develop the skills, and we told him, wax on, wax off, Daniel son. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes when you're getting started in skills and learning something to become a master, it's not going to be what you're thinking at first. You're not going to dive into it just off the top, just getting it. So sometimes it might take you a little bit longer than others. So you need a good skilled tutor, a trainer, someone that can actually help you see where you're going wrong, see what you're doing wrong, and help you improve that. And that's what I do. Like I said, I have a student now who we are now just on 10 hours, and we're in a horizontal position doing beads. And the man is dropping a nice bead. He's actually seeing what's going on. He's forming the bead. He's recognizing his distance, his travel speed. And I think all of that is important once you get the knowledge. You know, it's like driving. You have to maintain the steering wheel. You have to see what's coming before you. You have to stare in the rearview mirror every now and then to make sure you're clear at the back. So, you know, everything is a process, but knowledge is power when it comes to welding, when it comes to certifications. So I don't want you to spend money in something that you don't need to spend money in. So I wouldn't pressure you and say, oh man, go get a Mig Welding certification. But if you want to hold a certification, I will say have a stick welding certification, or have your flux core welding certification if you're going to be in the field or doing real heavy thick metal, or in the shop. Some shops do, industrial shops do heavy fabrication with structural steel, and they use inch thick or half-inch plate or more. So they do a lot of heavy flux core burning. So, you know, or pipe. So it's so many things that you can do. So just keep your options open, but knowledge is power. And I just wanted to say that because a few people asked me about certification. So just to clear that up, to be a certified welder, you do have to take a test. You do have to actually go through a procedure to take the test. Once you take go through the procedure, if it's 3G, 4G, 6G, or, you know, stainless, carbon, aluminum, whatever you're taking your test on, to be a on paper certified welder. So, and you can't accomplish that yourself. There's many AWS facilities, probably in your state. It shows most definitely some all around, but you have to Google it, because some facilities don't do AWS, some places do. But there's many certified state facilities too, where you can be state certified. So it all depends on what you want to do. If you want to be certified for your state to weld and do certain things, if you want to travel, be certified nationwide, I would recommend a AWS certification to cover if that's what you want to do. So it all depends on what direction you're going. If you're a welder, iron worker, if you want to do shop welding. I had a mother that reached out to me, and I told her she should ask them about what they want to do. Do they want to travel and weld? Do they want to do shop welding, fabrication? Because all of that determines what certification you need. And I will say this, when you're getting your certifications, it's good to know what you want, because you're spending your money. Is when you're going to college, people go to college and then they'll change and me and say, you know, I don't know if I want to do this. But I would say if you're starting out in welding, get a taste of it, figure out what process you like the most, and go with that process. But most definitely, knowledge is power. Appreciate y'all for checking in. Most definitely visit the website, www.HogOn2017.com. That's HogOn2017.com. Also on all social media platforms, it's HogOn Welding and Black Feniks, BLACKFENIKS. Salute to everyone. Please be blessed and continue to prosper. Hog on.